Welcome to ScoreCraft, Ironforge. Carved deep into the towering peaks of Dunmaroch lies the pinnacle of dwarven civilization, the vaunted ancient bastion of Ironforge. Hewn from stone and bedecked with intricate carvings, this epic city truly encapsulates the sense of that word like nowhere else in Azeroth. The great peaks stand tall and imposing, projecting the iron-wrought authority of the Dwarven Kingdom as far as the eye can see. This mighty stronghold is a reassuring sight for novice adventurers in the valley below, always on the horizon and always watching over them like a kind father. The city is warded from the wintry cold outside by the Great Forge, where the master craftsmen of the Bronzebeard clan work amidst great cauldrons of molten rock. A bustling hive of enterprise and industry with vast sums of gold changing hands every day and being stored away safely within the vault of Ironforge, the beating heart of this city. The blistering heat of the forge courses through the great concourses of the city in rivers of magma, and this heat rises up to enrich the citizens of Ironforge and fuel their unquenchable thirst for greatness. These hallowed halls are home to the most learned scholars and archaeologists in the world, whose collections of artifacts date back into unknown antiquity. The gleaming temple in the Hall of Mystics hums with magical and holy energies alike as the elder priests and sorcerers confer and delve deep into powers both arcane and sublime. The practitioners of darker arts have their own tunnels and warrens to hide in, along with their myriad secrets and schemes, tucked safely away from prying eyes and from those that simply wouldn't understand. But woe betide any who dare assault this fortress of the Alliance. Those able to brave the ramp and to reach the gate will find themselves met with nigh impenetrable doors, the armoured sons and daughters of the Mountain's Guard, and the towering statue of High King Modamus Anvilmar, ancient patriarch and unifier of the dwarven clans, serving constant vigil over his descendants and striking a pose of triumph to wither the courage of any invader. The music that echoes throughout these halls is the concentrated essence of the venerable dwarven race. The prelude to begin this first theme symbolizes the anticipation of a new visitor to the city, overwhelmed by the scale of this stone-wrought sanctuary. Two sets of chords are played by the brass over a drum roll from the timpani. E minor falls to C minor, and then from E minor again we rise to G minor. You'll notice that the roots of these three chords are all 3 steps away from each other, C, E, and G, and this creates what musicologists call tertiary relationships between the chords. Simply put, each of the chords have one note in common, a G in this instance, which lends a constancy to the sound and thus threads them together. This technique is widely used in the music of Warcraft and fantasy music in general, but as we shall see, the themes of Ironforge are a true masterclass in its application. After this prelude fades out to tremolo strings, we are met with the first theme played by a bold choir of brass instruments and military-style percussion of snare drum rolls, cymbal crashes, and anvil strikes. This theme reveals another signature motif of this music, the rising and falling semitone, the smallest interval of the scale. We hear this as the opening chords of D minor and A major, chords 1 and 5, are followed by B flat minor and F major, the same pattern, 1 semitone higher. This layering mirrors the structure of Ironforge, of 8 cavernous levels, though sadly we can only access the 5th depth in-game. The harmony then moves into a downward sequence of tertiary relationships, like a spiraling staircase from D to B flat to G, to a diminished 7th chord built upon E, and then to a perfect cadence, which is chords 5 to 1, into D minor. Now at the bottom of the staircase, we begin a harmonic ascent, though the bass line descends in a contrary motion from the root of the chords, and combine our 2 compositional techniques, that being the tertiary relationships and the semitone pattern, from a B flat to D, a 3-step gap, and then shifting up a semitone for E flat to G, another 3 steps, and eventually we end the theme at A major, resolving from a 4-3 suspension. Finishing as we are with Chord 5's instability shows us that we have much more of Ironforge left to explore. We then enter an interlude built upon the semitone motif, lurching back and forth from C to B and C sharp. Then enter triumphant brass and military percussion, blaring the Ironforge motif based upon C minor, F minor and G major, with repeated Gs on intricate marching rhythms in the trumpets. These chords are all fourths from each other, and so their progression is almost like a series of plagal cadences, which is chord 4 to 1, very common to church music, but this time the 4 is minor, not major as it should be, another very common feature of Blizzard's fantasy sound world. Unlike Blizzard's fantasy, it's believable enough that you half mistake it for reality, and mesmerizing enough that you desperately wish it were. This theme then gives way to a more ethereal section, full of wonder and curiosity, embodied by pizzicato or plucked string arpeggios. The brass then enter again with ingenious chords based upon our Ironforge motifs. The bass, as if imitating Jaws, uses a rising semitone from C to D flat 3 times, and is harmonized each as C major to B flat minor, to D flat minor, to D flat major, and then it goes to an exhausting tertiary relation sequence. Finally, this musical tour de force is concluded with an imperfect cadence, chord 1 to 5, of F minor to C major. Again finishing on chord 5, we know that we have more to explore, but now, having realized our true home is F minor, we're much closer to our destination. Now enters a truly regal horn melody in the mixolydian mode, which is an unconventional form of scale. Warm strings and a distant choir play out this melancholic descent, full of the sadness of ancient places that have known much suffering, yet stalwart and resolute. As if the mountain herself was singing an ode to her people. After another quick interlude, we're met again by the intrigue of the semitone motif, circling around C and then resting on Fs, and then F sharp, which is a tritone away from C, a most clashing interval, in medieval times referred to as diabolus in musica, the devil in music. A tritone splits the octave, so from one C to the next C, exactly in half, and it's really disorienting for our brain, so it gives it this unsettling and rather mysterious effect, which is why in the old days they thought it was so demonic. This industrious theme also hints towards the playful refugees of Gnomeregan, who now call Ironforge home. The jolting tritone and plucked string arpeggios reflecting the ingenuity and tinkering of the gnomes of Tinker Town. The final theme rises from the heat of the forge for one last impassioned melody. It uses again the semitone motif, and as a final flourish of genius, a reversed, very transformed circle of fifths with enough complexity for its own video. And it winds us down at last towards the final perfect cadence into our home key, F minor. This melody marks the end of our exploration of Ironforge, but we leave with the knowledge that this ancient city has endured many long ages, and will endure for long after we depart. We cannot hope to know its every secret, but perhaps that's part of the thrill. To find our way from hearth to hearth, each night to take a different path. To the mountain city we must go, to a dwarven jewel and a crown of snow. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and that you might be able to enjoy this music more deeply the next time you hear it. If you did enjoy this, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share the video with any friends that might also enjoy it. These videos take an awful lot of work to make, so I really appreciate any help you can give me to help me spread them with more Warcraft enthusiasts. I love to hear your feedback, so get in touch with me on my Discord server, linked in the description, or in the comments below. Have a lovely day everyone, and stay chim.